of our Guru Varga, we can continue to hear about the holy pastimes of Sriman Mahaprabhu, still traveling in southern India. And as we left yesterday, he has already attended to the Brahmin Vaishnav who was formerly chanting from birth the holy name of Lord Ramachandra and has since become completely mad with chanting the holy name of Krishna by the influence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can begin with text 93, when we will learn more about his Leela here. Sei Chaitre Rahe Eka Vaishnava Brahmana Devalai Ashikare Gita Avartana. In the holy place of Sri Rangachetra, a Brahmin Vaishnava used to visit the temple daily and recite the entire text of Bhagavad Gita daily. Asta dasa jaya pade anande aveshe ashuda padena lokakari upahase. The Brahmin regularly read the 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita in great transcendental ecstasy, but because he could not pronounce the words correctly, people used to joke about him. I'm glad I was not in that society. Keha hase keha ninde taha nahi mane avista hanya gita pare anandita mane. Due to his incorrect pronunciation, people sometimes criticized him and laughed at him, but he did not care. He was full of ecstasy due to reading Bhagavad Gita and was personally very happy. Pulakashru kampasweda yahavat pachana deki anandita haila mahaprabhu mana. While reading the book, the Brahmin experienced transcendental bodily transformations. His hair stood on end, tears welled in his eyes, and his body trembled and perspired as he read. Seeing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. And maybe just one paragraph from this purport. We can easily consider this for ourselves, help for ourselves too. Although the Brahmin could not pronounce the words very well due to illiteracy, he still experienced ecstatic symptoms while reading Bhagavad Gita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to observe these symptoms, and this indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased by devotion, not by erudite scholarship. Do you know what erudite means? Okay. Such fine scholarship. Even though the words were imperfectly pronounced, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna himself, did not think this very serious. Rather, the Lord was pleased by the bhava, devotion. Text 97, Mahaprabhu Puchila Tanre Shuna Mahashaya Konarta Jani Tamara Eta Sukha Haya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the Brahmin, My dear sir, why are you in such ecstatic love? Which portion of Bhagavad Gita gives you such transcendental pleasure? Viprakahe mukha ami sabdartha najani Sudha Sudha Gita Padi Guru Agnyamani. The Brahmin replied, I am illiterate and therefore do not know the meaning of the words. Sometimes I read Bhagavad Gita correctly and sometimes incorrectly, but in any case I am doing this in compliance with the orders of my spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada explains, this is a good example of a person who had become so successful that he was able to capture the attention of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even while reading Bhagavad Gita incorrectly. His spiritual activities did not depend on material things, such as correct pronunciation. Rather, his success depended on strictly following the instructions of his spiritual master. Arjunera Rate Krishna Haya Rajudara Vasiyache Hate Totra Shamala Sundara. The Brahmin continued, actually, I only see a picture of Lord Krishna sitting on a chariot. Is Arjuna's charioteer. Taking the reins in his hands, he appears very beautiful and blackish. Arjunere kahi techena hita upadesha tanre deki hayamora ananda avesha. When I see the picture of Lord Krishna sitting in a chariot and instructing Arjuna, I am filled with ecstatic happiness. Yavat padon tavat panya tanra darashana elagi gita pate nachare moramana. As long as I read Bhagavad Gita, I simply see the Lord's beautiful features. It is for this reason that I am reading Bhagavad Gita, and my mind cannot be distracted from this. Prabhu kahe Gita pahe tumara I adhikara tumi se janaha e gitara artasara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told the Brahmin, indeed, you are an authority in the reading of Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you know constitutes the real purport of Bhagavad Gita. Etapali sevi prekaila alangana prabhupada dari viprakarena rodana. After saying this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced the Brahmin, and the Brahmin, catching the lotus feet of the Lord, began to cry. Toma deki taha haite dviguna sukha haya say Krishna tumi haina moramani laya. The Brahmin said, upon seeing you, my happiness is doubled. I take it that you are the same Lord Krishna. Krishna spurche tanramana hanache nirmala aitaiva prabhura tattva janila sakala. The Brahmin's mind was purified by the revelation of Lord Krishna, and therefore he could understand the truth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in all details. Tabe Mahaprabhu Tanre Karaila Sikshana Evat Kahana Kariya Pakrashana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then taught the Brahmin very thoroughly and requested him not to disclose the fact that he was the Lord himself. Sevipra Mahaprabhu Bada Bhakta Haila Charimasa Prabhu Sangha Kabuna Chadila. That Brahmin became a great devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and for 4 continuous months he did not give up the Lord's company. Emata bhatta grihe rahe gora chandra nirantara bhatta sanghe Krishna katananda. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained at the house of Venkatabhata and constantly talked about Lord Krishna. In this way he was very happy. Sri Vaishnava Bhatta Seve Lakshmi Narayana Tanra Bhakti Deki Prabhu Tusta Haila Mana. Being a Vaishnava in the Ramanuja Sampradaya, Venkatabhata worshipped the deity of Lakshmi and Narayan. Seeing his pure devotion, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. Venkatabhata. Nirantara Tanra Sanghe Haila Sakya Bhava Hasha Pari Hase Dunhe Sakar Yera Swabhava. Constantly associating with one another, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkatabhata gradually developed a friendly relationship. Indeed, sometimes they laughed and joked together. Prabhu kahe bata tomara Lakshmi Thakurani Kanta Vakshastita Pativata Shiromani. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Bhattacharya, your worshipable goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, always remains on the chest of Narayan, and she is certainly the most chaste woman in the creation. Shri Lakshmi Devi. Amara Thakur Krishna Gopa Gocharaka Sadvihanya Kene Chahe Tanhara Sangama. However, my Lord is Lord Sri Krishna, a cowherd boy who is engaged in tending cows. Why is it that Lakshmi, being such a chaste wife, wants to associate with my Lord? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking. Elagi Sukha Bhogachari Chirakala Vrata Niyamakari Tapakarila Apara. Just to associate with Krishna, Lakshmi abandoned all transcendental happiness in Vaikuntha and for a long time accepted vows and regulative principles and performed unlimited austerities. And this is a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto. Kashyanu bhavo shayana devam vimahe Tavangri Renu Sparshadikaraha Yadvanchaya Shri Lanchana Charatapo Vihaya Kaman Suchiran Dritavrata. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya attained such an opportunity to be touched by the dust of your lotus feet. Even the goddess of fortune, for this end, performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and taking austere vows. Indeed, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya got such an opportunity. Vatakahe Krishna Narayana Eka Iswarupa Krishneti Adhika Lila Vaidagyadi Rupa. Venkatabhata then said, Lord Krishna and Lord Narayan are one and the same, but the pastimes of Krishna are more relishable due to their sportive nature. Tara sparshe nahiyaya pativrata dharma kotuke lakshmi chahena krishnara sangama. Since Krishna and Narayan are both the same personality, Lakshmi's association with Krishna does not break her vow of chastity. Rather, it was in great fun that the goddess of fortune wanted to associate with Lord Krishna. This is an answer to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's question, and from this we can understand that Venkatabhata knew the truth. He told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Narayan is a form of Krishna associated with transcendental opulence. Although Krishna is two-armed and Narayan four-armed, there is no difference in the person. They are one and the same. Narayan is as beautiful as Krishna, but Krishna's pastimes are more sportive. It is not that the sportive pastimes of Krishna make him different from Narayan. Lakshmi's desiring to associate with Krishna was perfectly natural. In other words, it is understandable that a chaste woman wants to associate with her husband in all his different dresses. Therefore, one should not criticize Lakshmi for wanting to associate with Krishna. Siddhantatas treya bedapi Shrisha Krishna Swarupayo Rase not Krishyate Krishna Rupa Mesha Rasastitihi. And from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Canto 1, 1-59. Vyankatabhata continued, according to transcendental realization, there is no difference between the forms of Narayan and Krishna. Yet, in Krishna there is a special transcendental attraction due to the conjugal mellow, and consequently he surpasses Narayan. This is the conclusion of transcendental mellows. Krishna Sange Pativrata Dharmana Hinasha Adhika Labha Paye Ararasa Vilasa. The goddess of fortune considered that her vow of chastity would not be damaged by her relationship with Krishna. Rather, by associating with Krishna, she could enjoy the benefit of the rasa dance. Vinodini Lakshmirahaya Krishna Abhilasa Ihate Kidoshashkena Karaparihasa. Venkatabhata further explained, Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is also an enjoyer of transcendental bliss. Therefore, if she wanted to enjoy herself with Krishna, what fault is there? Why are you joking so about this? Prabhu kahe dosha nahi iha ami jani rasa na paila Lakshmi shastra iha shuni. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, I know that there is no fault on the part of the goddess of fortune, but still she could not enter into the rasa dance. We hear this from revealed scriptures. So from Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, Nayam Shriyon Gayu Nintantarate Prasada Swaryositam Nalina Ganda Rucham Kutonyaha Rasotsavesha Bhuja Danda Grihita Kanta Labda Shisham Udugad Vraja Sundarinam Vraja Sundarinam. Of the beautiful gopis, the transcendental girls. When Lord Shri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, he put his arms around their necks and embraced them. This transcendental favor was never granted to the goddess of fortune or other consorts in the spiritual world, nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls from the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma exactly resemble lotus flowers. And what to speak of worldly women, who may be very, very beautiful by material estimation. And then continuing by, from Srimad Bhagavatam, I think. Lakshmi kene na paila ihara kikarana Tapakari Kaiche Krishna Paila Shruti Gana. But can you tell me why the goddess of fortune Lakshmi could not enter the rasa dance? The authorities of Vedic knowledge could enter the dance and associate with Krishna. The authorities of Vedic knowledge. That sounds like that must be a question coming from Mahaprabhu. It's in Bengali. And then from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, a lengthy Sanskrit. Great sages, by practicing the mystic yoga system and controlling the breath, conquer the mind and senses. Thus engaging in mystic yoga and seeing the supersoul within their hearts, they ultimately enter into impersonal Brahman, along with the enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, the damsels of Braja, the gopis, want to embrace Krishna and his arms, which are like serpents. Being attracted by the beauty of Krishna, the gopis ultimately tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord. The Upanishads have also tasted the nectar of his lotus feet by following in the footsteps of the gopis. That's from 10th canto. Okay, now, Shruti Paya Lakshmi Napaya Itaki Karana Bhatakahi Iha Praveshite Nare Moramana. Having been asked by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu why the goddess of fortune could not enter into the rasa dance, whereas the authorities on Vedic knowledge could, Venkatabhata replied, I cannot enter into the mysteries of this behavior. Ami jiva chudra buddhi sahaje astira ishvarera lila koti samudra gambira. Venkatabhata then admitted, I am an ordinary human being. Since my intelligence is very limited and I am easily agitated, my mind cannot enter within the deep ocean of the pastimes of the Lord. Tumi sakshat se Krishna janani karma, yare janaha se jani tomara lila marma. So Venkatabhata continuing to answer Mahaprabhu's question so humbly. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. You know the purpose of your activities, and the person whom you enlighten can also understand your pastimes, which also brings up the opposite. One who is not enlightened by Krishna cannot understand his transcendental pastimes. And this purport goes into this. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his pastimes cannot be understood by blunt material senses. One has to purify the senses by rendering transcendental loving service unto the Lord. When the Lord is pleased and reveals himself, one can understand the transcendental form, name, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad and in the Mundaka Upanishad. Anyone who is favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead can understand his transcendental name, qualities, form, and pastimes. Prabhu kahe Krishnera eka sabhava vilakshana swamadhurye sarvachita kare akarshana. The Lord replied, Lord Krishna has a specific characteristic. He attracts everyone's heart by the mellow of his personal conjugal love. Now, I've gone a little over our time because we can read in Loving Search. And this does continue. This explanation by Mahaprabhu, at the same time he's asking so many questions on the subject from Venkatabhata and then has to explain them himself, is highly instructive. And we're very fortunate that tomorrow we can continue to read. Okay? And now we'll actually, sadly but happily, we'll be reading from final part of Loving Search for the Lost Servant in the chapter Service of Sri Krishna, the final chapter, and we just have a couple of pages, and this very, very significant and so holy, so high explanation by Srila Guru Maharaj and presented by Srila Gurudev's service to him about who is Srimati Radharani and why we want to be absorbed in Radha Dasam and how this is our line that we are in. She is Krishna's other half. In Srila Bhaktisiddhanta's language, the predominated moiety. Devotional service as a whole is represented by her because both the intensity and the comprehensiveness of her service to Krishna are unparalleled. There are so many examples of chaste and pious ladies in the ancient history of the Puranas. Sachi, the faithful wife of Indra, Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva, Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortunes, Satyabhama, Krishna's wife in Dwarka, Rukmini, the principal queen of Krishna in Dwarka, and even the antagonists of Radharani headed by Chandravali. All of them represent different aspects of Radharani. They all spring from the main potency, which is known as Radha. The name Radha comes from the word aradhana, one who can serve, who can worship, who can give respect, who really loves Krishna, who can render loving service. All of these other ladies who are famous for their chastity and piety are but partial representations of Radharani. If we know the scriptures and scrutinize the position of those virtuous ladies, we'll find that the source of all their chastity and devotion is Srimati Radharani. She is the fountainhead of devotion, And so Bhaktivinoda says, I bow down and take the dust of the holy feet of those who have as their only wealth the service of Radharani. I hanker after nothing else. Whoever knows this and always travels on that path with a sincere heart is most fortunate. It is the ideal that makes one great, not any material possession. One who has the highest ideal is really wealthy. The highest ideal is the most valuable thing we may possess, and less valuable things must be eliminated if we are to concentrate our efforts and save ourselves from useless endeavor. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to show us that highest ideal, the path of divine love. And when we find divine love of Godhead in its highest intensity in his life and teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to illustrate the ideal of divine love which reaches its highest expression in Srimati Radharani. Very few people know this outside of our gurus. The whole Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to illustrate the ideal of divine love which reaches its highest expression in Srimati Radharani. The Srimad Bhagavatam sings very glorious about the paramour relationship of Radha and Krishna. The Vedas and other Puranas are not so expressive about such confidential pastimes, yet we find a hint of the glories of Radha and Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Goswamis have more fully expressed Radharani's devotion in their writings. In Rupa Goswami's Pajavali, we find her saying, "My Lord, people say that I have a bad reputation because of my connection with you. I do not feel any trouble in my heart because of this. My concern is that I could not give myself to you completely. The people in general say that I am illicitly connected with you. But what disturbs me is that I could not really give myself to you. I feel that I am not fit for your service. This is only the trouble within my heart." And the ecstasy of divine love increases in separation. One day, when Krishna was playing with his cowherd boyfriends in the Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Girdhari. One day, when Krishna was playing with his cowherd boyfriends in the pasturing grounds of Vrindavan, Krishna suddenly felt extreme separation from Radharani. He sent his friend Subal to Radharani saying, "Go to my Radha and fetch her. Without her, I can't live. Suddenly I have so much desire for her company that I can't stand it anymore. Somehow manage to bring her." Subal said, "How is it possible to bring her here in the jungle in broad daylight?" Krishna told him, "Somehow manage it." Subal thought, "What should I do?" Subal was very intimately connected with the family of Radharani's husband. He went to the house of Radharani and told her girlfriends, "Krishna can't tolerate separation from Radharani any longer. He is so eager to meet her, he is going mad. Somehow you have to arrange for them to meet." "How is it possible?" the gopis asked. Subal explained to them that Krishna was nearby in the jungle. They discussed between themselves what to do. Subal was a beautiful boy who resembled Radharani. So Subal took the dress of Radharani, and Radharani wore Subal's cowherd dress. When Radharani was discovered wearing the dress of Subal, she was challenged by her family members. "Subal, what are you doing here?" In the dress of Subal, Radharani said, "A calf is missing and its mother is mooing, so I have come here looking for that calf." So a calf was given to Radharani, and she carried that small calf on her breast into the forest. In this way, Radharani was disguised as Subal, while Subal, who had taken the dress of Radharani, remained behind in her room. Radharani had been given a hint of where Krishna was hiding near the forest's edge. She went to seek him out. At last, when Radharani saw Krishna, she approached him in the garb of Subal. Krishna was mad. He could not detect that Radharani had come, but mistook her for Subal. He said, "Oh, Subal, you have come back without Radharani. Couldn't you bring her?" Radharani began cutting jokes. "No," she said, "it was impossible for me to bring her in the daytime." Krishna said, "Then what am I to do? I can't tolerate my life any longer." Radharani said, "If you say so, I can go to Trandavali and bring her." "No, no," Krishna said. "Curd cannot satisfy the thirst for milk. It is not possible." Krishna was faint with disappointment. Then Radharani embraced him, saying, "My lord, can't you recognize your maidservant? You fail to recognize me." Then Krishna was again full of joy. Although the pastimes of Radha and Govinda are mentioned in the scriptures, these are all very high things. They are not ordinarily to be expressed in words. Guru Maharaj says, but still sometimes we are forced to speak about them because the high ideal of divine love given by Srimad Bhagavatam is the supreme goal of life. Of course, the scholarship of Sukadev Goswami and Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu have helped, to a certain extent, to establish the dignity of the proposal that love is above knowledge. It was admitted by everyone that Sukadev held the highest attainment of the learned men of knowledge. He was unanimously admitted by the scholars to hold the highest position. Because of this, when Sukadev Goswami came to inaugurate the principle that divine love is above everything else, the scholars had to take notice. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated to the scholars that his intelligence and scholarship excelled everyone else's. So when he came with the tidings of divine love, then it was easier for the ordinary men, the great scholars he's calling ordinary men, to accept it as the highest ideal and try for it. So Vasudeva Ghosh says, Yadi Gora Nahate Tabe Ki Haita Kamane Dari Tamde. If Mahaprabhu had not appeared in this Kali Yuga, then how could we tolerate living? How could we sustain our lives? What he has given, the very gist of life, the very taste, the charm of life, without that, we think it is impossible for anyone to live in this world. Such a thing has been invented, discovered by Gauranga. If he had not come, then how could we live? It is impossible to live devoid of such a holy and gracious thing as divine love. Without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how could we know that Radharani stands supreme in the world of divine love? We have received all these things from him, and now we think that life is worth living. Otherwise, to live would be suicidal. Do you know, is that the first line of the Kirtan by Vasudeva Ghosh? Yadi Gora Naha. Okay. Yadi Gora Nahate Tabe. Okay. And serving those who can serve Radharani, is the way to approach her vicinity. By serving the servants of the servants, we are assured of success in getting the grace of Krishna. If somehow one can be counted in the group of Srimati Radharani's servitors, one's fortune is assured. Within the group of Radharani's servitors, we aspire to be Rupanugas, followers of Sri Rupa. And the followers of Sri Rupa will have great earnestness to look after the order of Sri Rupa as he does toward Lalita. In this way, through Rupa Goswami, our devotional service is going to the highest plane. And our highest gain is only there. Not even our connection with Radharani or Lalita Devi is the highest goal of life. But our highest aspiration is to serve in the Rupanuga Sampradaya. That means that our highest attainment is in Sri Rupa's connection. Radha Dasham has been said to be the highest attainment. Why? The quality and quantity of rasa that Radharani can draw from Krishna can never be found anywhere else. Quality and quantity. So if you are situated just behind Radharani, you'll be allowed to taste not only the quantity but the highest quality of rasa. No other person can draw such high rasa from Krishna. The fullest, highest type of quality is drawn from Krishna. He gives himself fully and wholly and deeply. So if you are in Sri Rupa's group, then you can have a taste of that sort of rasa. In Radharani's camp, when Krishna and Radha are enjoying very solitary pastimes in a secluded place, the grown-up Sakis cannot venture to enter the room and assist them. The young girls, the Manjaris, are sent there. The leader of that young group can enter where both Radha and Govinda are very closely connected, even when the Sakis do not venture to go for fear of causing some interruption. But Rupa and the Manjaris can enter there at that time due to their young age. That sort of rasa that cannot be had even through the Sakis can be had only through the Manjaris. Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays to gain admission there. He has such a high quality of aspiration. He says, Rupanuga hoite sei doi. He runs to be enlisted in the group of Rupa, who can grant us that sort of prospect. And Prabodhananda Saraswati has described the prerequisite for understanding all these things. Yata yata gora pradara vindeta bhaktim krita punya rasi tata tatot sarpati hridyakasmat radha padamboja sudamburasihi. As much as you surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga, you'll find yourself safely situated in the service of Radha Govinda. Don't try to approach Radha Govinda directly. If you do, there may be some difficulty, but the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga will take you there safely. And then Guru Maharaj is saying, in my Sanskrit poem dedicated to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I have explained all these points. Shri Gora Numatam Swarupa Viditam Rupa Grajenadritam Rupa Jai Pariveshitam Raghu Ganayar Ashvaditam Sevitam Jivadayar Adi Rakshitam Shuka Shiva Brahmadi Samanitam Shri Radhapada Seva Namritam Aho Tadatum Isho Bhavan. What has, you could say that, couldn't you? You could have read that. So excuse me. But it has the English here. This beautiful poem written by Srila Guru Maharaj, dedicated to Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What was sanctioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his descent was intimately known only to Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami. It was adored by Sanatana Goswami and served by Rupa Goswami and his followers. Raghunath Das Goswami tasted that wonderful thing fully and enhanced it with his own realization. And Jiva Goswami supported and protected it by quoting the scriptures from different places. The taste of that divine truth is aspired for by Brahma, Shiva, and Uddhava, who respect it as a supreme goal of life. What is this wonderful truth? Sri Radha Pada Sevana. that the highest nectar of our life is the service of Srimati Radharani. This is most wonderful. O Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you are our master. It is within your power to allow them to bestow your grace upon us. You are in a position to bestow the highest gift ever known to the world upon us all. It is at your disposal. O Bhaktivinoda Thakur, please be kind to us and grant us your mercy. So Guru Maharaj concludes, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our most benevolent Lord, has come to search for his long-lost servants and to give to them this highest ideal of divine love. So what an incredible, lengthy explanation for our benefit from our gurus by the arrangement of Srila Bhakti-Sundar Goswami Maharaj and all those who assisted him in preparing this, like Srila Bhakti-Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, to present these words of Srila Bhakti Rakshidhar Maharaj. We cannot think what would happen if they had not made these arrangements for our benefit. But they did, so we are benefited. Okay, and Ananda Swarupini, can you sing Hari Haraya? Hari Haraya, Nama Krishna Yaravaya, Namaha. Yaravaya, Madhavaya, Kesavaya, Namaha. Gopal, Govindaram, Sri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath, Madana Mohan. Sri Chaitanya Nityananda, Sri Aditya Chandra. Radhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Arupa Sanatan Bhakta Lakuna. Viriya Gopala Bhakta Nasaraguna. Jai Gosai Kori Taranavangaya. Te Vijnana Savistapura. Te Chago Saita Muitaragasa. Asavara Padare Rumura Kanchasras. Anevacharana Sedi Vasa Sanevasa. Name Mura Hey Abina. Hey Tara Saja Be Pada Kola Vasa. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakasa. Anande Bolo Hari Bhagavindavana.
Saparikashi Shigu. Gor Sundai Saparikashi Shigu. Goranga Sundar Radha Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupadshila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupadshila Bhakti Rakakshila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupadshila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Loving Search for the Lost Servant Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Acharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat West London Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. All the worldwide devotees Ki Jai. Kum Kum Devidasi Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Permanande Hari Hari.
All right. If any
My
of
apologies for going so long. I hope no one is